If a drug cartel somehow acquired a massive fortune, would they continue to operate as drug cartel? For example, if they achieved majority stock ownership in some of the world's most valuable companies. Actually rephrase, say a drug cartel became very savvy investors, and profits from their legitimate businesses far outweighed their illicit activities. Would they continue to operate as a drug cartel? They have massive fortunes. You mean aside from the billions in drug money? Your question is already answered by real life. I'm guessing you are not aware that those cartel drug kingpins actually live like kings. If Bezos acquired a massive fortune, would he stop operating Amazon? What do you mean if? That is why it is a cartel. They have territory and lots of customers. The mob moved to more legal activities, but that does not mean they still do not do illegal things in the process of legal businesses. Look up the Cali cartel. They are depicted in the Narcos Netflix series. They invested heavily in legitimate businesses, fronts, and even had control over a bank. The bank was likely used to launder money, though. Drug cartels do have massive fortunes. That's kinda part of what makes them successful. Pablo Escobar, the wealthiest drug lord ever, never gave it a thought. He was estimated to be worth around $30 billion. That's around $70 billion today. I do coke so I can work longer, so I can earn more, so I can do more coke. Cartels have more money than most Fortune 500 companies. The difference with people who earn billions is that they usually aren't just looking to make a bunch of money and quit. Most of them have been focusing on their business for so long that it's unfathomable to just quit. What do you think the market cap for selling drugs is? Sounds like you're underestimating it. By a lot. Drug cartels do what you describe all the time, only we call them pharmaceutical companies. Pablo Escobar had a net worth of $30 billion when he was killed. That's $70 billion on today's dollars. They already have massive fortunes, LMAO. Is this a serious question? Of course they'd continue to operate as a drug cartel. Those at the top who wield the power and enjoy the actual wealth would not share it with any of the underlings, minions they employ to do their dirty work. And as long as their position is suitably entrenched that they don't feel there's any risk to continue, they will of course continue. Most of them will enjoy actively running a cartel, and if anything, it would be more risky to stop. Bro using Reddit as Google. You can't greed, you can only find new products. Why do people write like this? If limes, avocados, tortillas. You think every export coming out of Mexico is honest business? We buy cartel food all the time. Pretty sure cartels rake in substantially more than any big corporation. The thing about being rich is that you can enhance it with drugs. If you make the drugs, then you have everything. It is not about the money, my friend. They have massive fortunes that are already invested in stocks and purchased major companies. Don't many of the cartels already have billions in assets? I'm sure their ROI is much higher than any stocks. It's also much riskier business. You'd have to believe that having retired to investing that you don't have any old competitors with a grudge. Most drug cartels already have massive fortunes, so yes, they would continue being drug cartels. If Elon received a $50 billion paycheck out if now, where would he still hoard it and try to make more? They already are wealthy with our non-tax dollars. They already have massive fortunes. This is, in fact, a stupid question. Drug cartels are multi-billion-dollar operations right now. They are very wealthy. And yes, they continue to operate. This is really stretching the no stupid question premise. What exactly do you think is a drug cartel's business model? Non-profit? They already own Mexico, so yes, they would still sell drugs. You mean the CIA? This is a weird question. Cartels are richer than Saudi oil barons. The Cali cartel tried to do that, but it failed. Your rivals never go away. And businesses built on dirty money won't last. You'll get taken out or to jail as either rival. Cartels, the government, or both together come after to you. I've never sold hard drugs, but I did sell weed for about 2 years while I was college. And it's mostly just a risk-reward thing. I could move 1-2 pound a week, but the foot traffic and groups start to catch people's eye. The money was incredible though. If the cartel was making as much money from business as it was from drugs, I'd be willing to bet there would be a major cutback on illegal gains versus legal gains. What? The closest thing to that is the mob or organized crime in general, I believe. The mafia still exists and they do illegal things. But they also operate in many legitimate businesses. Actually, NVM. Established cartels absolutely do this as well. No. The answer is no. And while there are no stupid questions, I feel like maybe this one could have been figured out if you thought a little longer about it. TBF though, I could see like the leader going legitimate as feeling a cartel went legitimate. There will always be demand for mind-altering substances. If you want to take the violence out of cartels, legalize and regulate drugs. You no longer see gin makers in America machine gunning each other over turf. But you did during Prohibition. There will always be massive profits in illegal drug sales and, as such, there will always be people who engage in it, because they have no recourse other than violence for settling scores. They engage in violence. They are already savvy investors, and have major legitimate businesses. Has the oil cartel stopped being a cartel? Money-hungry people will never be satisfied with the money they have, they'll always want more. Drug cartel as in everyone in the cartel or just the head of the cartel? What the OP is asking is the Michael Corleone question. In GF3, Michael tried disassociating with the criminal part of the family business. As he found out that wasn't so easy. Just when I'm out they pull me back in. I don't think you can buy stocks in cash. I guess I'm wondering what their endgame or motivation is. Like, is violence a required component of the company's core values? Is there an X amount of money, influence, or territory where violence is no longer a necessary component? Like, do they want to be a sovereign nation and join the G20? Don't quote me, but I believe at one time they had pallets of cash kept in storage facilities. I think the whole point is they can make way more in a quicker time frame with better reliability than any of the best savvy investors. If legitimacy were more profitable, it's a no-brainer to avoid violence and prosecution. It's about power, being untouchable, having more influence than the government. You can look at the mafia for reference. Various crime families ran massive legitimate businesses, like the casinos in Vegas, but continued their illicit activities. Once they achieved wealth, they went for power. From what I heard, the cartels operate heavily in avocados now and less as much in drugs, no joke. There is literally nothing that could make them more wealthy. Of course, a giant cartel runs the world. Yes. And with the lobbying power of a large corp, it becomes legal and that get tax credits. Think NAFTA but with a Coke mustache. The richest people on earth in the 1990s were cartel kingpins. Seriously. They made the top 10 in Forbes.